The first question of this passage is only about the first paragraph, so we don't have a lot of lines to read. This is exactly why the no reading strategy can be great, where you can just dive right into a passage at the beginning and just read a few lines at a time. So this one says the first paragraph. We should read that paragraph and see what it's about. A female guppy can be sexually mature at 2 months of age and have her first babies just a month later. Great, so it's about guppies. The unstinting rate of reproduction makes guppies ideally suited for studying the rate of evolution, and David Resnick, a biologist at UC Riverside, has been doing exactly that for the last few decades. So okay, I underlined, 3 words there? That's all I need to kind of get a dumb summary of what's going on. But now when I look at the choices, if there's more to this, 7 lines, then great. I will look for that based on the choices. So I'm not looking to summarize this per se. I'm looking for one of the 4 summaries that are in the choices and seeing which one best matches with what I've read. So choice A says it's to establish the reason why a certain species was selected for scientific observation. Well, the certain species would be the guppies, so that checks out. And it selected for scientific observation, well, it was ideally suited for studying. So that also seems to check out. Now, before we pick it, we still have to read everything else. And when we do, choice B actually seems kind of similar. Illustrate the value of studying the offspring of a particular animal shortly after birth. Well, it's still about a particular animal, guppies, and we're definitely studying it, so that also seems to work. But remember, with process of elimination, our goal is not just to find matching ideas that work, but to find the 10% of a choice that might be wrong, the little bit that doesn't match. Because a lot of times there are lots of matches in all the different choices, and we can't just rely on that. We need to see everything and see if it works. And so in this choice, there is a problem. Illustrate the value of studying the offspring of a particular animal shortly after birth, right? Notice, A just has established the reason why a certain species was selected for scientific observation. So A and B are very similar, but if we put them next to each other and we really start asking questions about what's going on, we discover that there is a key difference, and that the question is going to hinge on that difference. We're not just studying the offspring, we're studying the species. Right? B is a more specific version of A. And if we go back to the passage just to confirm, it says a female guppy can be sexually mature at 2 months of age and have her first babies just a month later. So it talks about the babies, the offspring. But the unstinting rate of reproduction makes guppies, in general, all guppies, not just the babies, ideally suited for studying the rate of evolution. So it's not about the babies that we're studying, it's about the entire species, just the fish. So that is why A is better than B, even though they are very, very similar. Let's look at C and D just to be safe here. Introduce a theory at the center of an ongoing scientific debate. Well, they certainly didn't introduce any theory. They just said we're going to study this stuff. Maybe the theory is to come in later paragraphs, and that's why the no reading strategy is so great, is if it's not here, it can't be the answer to the question about the first paragraph. So we haven't clouded our mind with ideas that don't matter for this particular question. And then D, offer a rationale for the prevalence of a new field of scientific inquiry. Well, this choice scares people because of the vocabulary. Rationale, prevalence, those are hard words. But the best thing about process of elimination is since we're narrowing our focus to individual words and phrases, we can look at the ones that we do know, even though there are ones that we don't, right? You should know what a new field is, and you can ask yourself a question. Is this really a new field? I mean, it says he's been doing it for the last few decades, so that seems to be the opposite of a new field if he's been doing it for a while. And what would the new field be? Studying fish? Studying evolution? Those things have been around for a long time. So this doesn't seem to match, even if I have no idea what rationale and prevalence mean. Just to be clear, prevalence is how common something is. So if it's a new field that is prevalent, it is common, it is something that we see in lots of different places, and the rationale would be like the reasoning. So yeah, you should know those words, but you don't need to know them for this question. And so that leaves us with choice A. Hopefully you picked that, not because you read it first and were like, aha, that's a match, because you still went through the process of analyzing these choices. And I would say that difference between A and B is really important. Maybe bookmark this one, because this video is really getting to something that we see in all sorts of reading questions, and that is that a lot of times the SAT gives us two choices that sound very, very similar. And it's our job to figure out what makes them different. It may be similar, but that's not the same. And you want to train yourself to get good at noticing the difference so you can look for that in the passage and then cross one of the two out confidently.